Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your reading for this time next year. Each one of the rows in this reading is based off of questions that I got from all of you. So on a post I did like a couple weeks ago. So your first row is going to represent the message you need to hear before this time next year. You have this guide and protector card and this earth spirit card. You are an earth spirit for sure, Virgo. And so you are protected at this time. I've done about 5 readings so far, and pretty much everyone has had a protection card like in the first row. And so, it could just be a time where the universe is trying to tell us like, hey, there's nothing to worry about. You are protected. There's there's nothing that really can harm you at this time, or whatever. So you are protected here, Virgo, with that energy. The Earth Spirit card is definitely telling me that you should be embracing that earthy side of yourself. Like, it's like, it seems to me already in this reading, without even clarifying, that it's like a very practical time for you. You are a Virgo, you are very practical. But I think, again, just kind of, tapping into that energy a little bit more would be very beneficial, even now, like, between this time and next year. So I would say that it could just be a very practical time for you with the energy that's showing up. You have the King of Cups as your first card. King of Cups, 5 of Cups, and the Queen of Pentacles. Now, we have 3 5s in this reading. 5 of Cups, 5 of Pentacles, 5 of Swords. 555 is a big change number. So even though most people consider these 5s to be negative, which I don't, I think 5s have very easy solutions, which we're going to talk about. There could be like some big changes that are going on. And, that's it. The King of Cups, I feel, is saying that between now and next year, this time next year, getting in touch with yourself would be a very good idea. You have the 9 of Pentacles, and 9 of Pentacles is pre-Empress energy, and the Empress, even though the 9 of Pentacles isn't the Empress, still kind of, and the Empress is really about getting in touch with yourself. The King of Cups, he's sitting in the middle of the deep ocean here on the card, and he is tapping into his deep emotions, like seeing how he feels about things. I kind of feel like the reason this is coming up is because we are in a time of truth. And, just on a personal level, if we are doing things that we really don't want to be doing, then we're going to struggle. Right? Plain and simple. And so you need to get in touch with like your heart and your inner emotions. And, he has this boat back here. And so I think that for some of you, it's like maybe you need to make some changes or do some things to kind of, actually do what you want to do that is connected to your heart. Like maybe you have to go on an adventure, or maybe you have to do things you've never done before. The boat on the King of Cups represents kind of traveling into the unknown. It's like you might emotionally feel like you want to do a different job. It's like you're gonna have to go on an adventure to find another one. And I kind of get that feeling here with the King of Cups. You have the 5 of Cups. 5 of Cups is about letting go of regrets. I just think since COVID, like since 2019, basically, that a lot of people are thinking to themselves, like, I wish things were the way they used to be. And, it's kind of like that energy that I get off of the 5 of Cups. It's not like bad. I just think it's like there might be some things that were working for you since before that time, or there might be some techniques in work or business or other areas of your life that where things were working out better, but we've kind of entered into this new world, and we need to kind of like be open to other ways of doing things. And that's really what I feel the 5 of Cups is saying, is like there are other and better ways to do the things you're doing in your life, but you're still holding on to the old ways maybe. But if you turn around and you see these 2 cups, you get this bridge in the castle. So I feel like it's saying, that's what you need to focus on. I also get this energy, like I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I get this energy of you being too hard on yourself. It's like the 5 of Cups can be regrets. And so you could have some regrets about anything in the past. And I feel this is saying like, no regrets, right? You need to let go of the regrets or those things that you wish you could change. I really do feel, I don't even know how to explain it, but I do feel this type of energy in the astrology where it's like saying, where it's almost like the universe is really saying, like, we're in a time where the rubber meets the road, where we really have to, make things happen in our lives. And never in history has there been a time like this. And, so I think the universe is saying like, okay, like, forgive yourself for the past, you'll be fine, forgive it, and start moving forward. And I definitely get that energy on the 5 of Cups. Next, we have the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is about resourcefulness. She's looking at the resources that she has in front of her. She's also the card of practicality, right? She has this rabbit right here. The rabbit can represent ability or abundance and fertility, and it can also represent fears and anxiety. You know, the whole point of the card is that she's focused on what she has. She's not focused on the fears and the anxiety. Now, the other thing about the Queen of Pentacles that has been popping up into my head recently is that she can represent multiplication. So she really focuses on doing the things in work, business, and all areas of her life that create, you know, multiple of a result, not just like one times the result, right? And so there are things we can do that have a better result in our life. And if we do those things more, we'll get a better result. So I know that sounds obvious, but people don't do it. So there you go. That's what I would be focusing on with the Queen of Pentacles. But let's see what else you need to hear before this time next year. With the King of Cups, you have the Emperor. Could be attracting love, for sure. Could be a water sign or earth sign. You always get water and earth and fire with me, so could be any sign. But if you are looking for love, definitely could be attracting an Emperor type person with the Two of Cups. You know, the Emperor would be a person who really takes advantage of opportunities, a person who really puts in the work, a person who really makes things happen. So, I get that energy. One thing I will say is that this last row here is going to be the row of love in this reading. And, kind of what's popping into my head with these 2 5s is I kind of feel like this is 2 people who have a past that need to let go of their past. Plain and simple. It's like you both need to look at each other as a fresh start. I'm going to skip ahead because it's popping into my head hard right now. And it's saying that, this is 2 people where you both need to look at each other and say, we're starting from scratch. That's it, right? With the 5 of Cups, you have the 8 of Swords. I think other people, I'm getting a little ahead of myself again here in this reading, but just based off of everything I see here, I think other people could give you ideas on how to improve any situation that you're dealing with in your life. 8 of Swords is self-imposed restriction. 8 of Swords can be only seeing one way of doing things when there are many. So she's only looking at one way of doing things when there are many ways to do things. And so I think for a lot of you, this is about needing to set yourself free and needing to realize that there are many solutions to anything that you're dealing with. And you have the 2 of Cups right next to it. Sure, the 2 of Cups can be love, but the 2 of Cups can also be you and your higher self. It can say your higher self is trying to guide you out of a stuck situation, but you need to listen, right? And so it could also be a great time for like meditation, having a dream journal, all those things, right? You never know where you get answers. I'm a big fan of the book Psycho-Cybernetics. I'm about to read it again. So I read it at least once a year. But I had to read the Big Leap first by Gay Hendricks, which is also another good one that you could also read, Virgo. But I was talking about it in a reading a couple weeks ago, so then I had to read it again. I was going to listen to Psycho-Cybernetics again, but Psycho-Cybernetics, we just tell our brain, hey, I'm looking for an answer to this thing, and then our brain starts looking for an answer. So, that's what I would do with the 8 of Swords. Get out of your head, or get into your head in the right way. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the 6 of Swords. It's like stacking achievements is what I'm hearing in my head. Like, I think you need to start stacking wins. That's not even what this card means, but I read intuitively. I just give the messages I get. So, don't shoot the messenger. But I feel that, 6 of Swords, sure, it can represent moving on to calmer shores, but also I think stacking achievements could be the thing that you do to start moving on to calmer shores. It's like those wins that all add up with that Queen of Pentacles, and I think there are very clear wins. The other thing about being practical as well is about doing what works and not trying to reinvent the wheel too much. Now, there's kind of like a contradictory energy here, Virgo, I will say, because we have Pluto and Aquarius, so we have to innovate. But what I would say is like 80% of the time, do what works. 20% of the time, innovate. But right now, I just get this feeling for you that you could be being a little bit too innovative almost, and that you should just, do what works, especially if you're starting something, right? If you're starting something new, like a new business or a new idea, I would do what has always worked for everyone that does what you're doing, and then you can start innovating, like once you start growing. But there's something about like the start needing to stack those wins, right? Next, we're going to look at any big money shifts or career or finance shifts that could be coming in for you this time next year. You have this Between Worlds card and this Higher Power card. So again, another card that says, you really have to tap into your higher power and your inner voice and your also your higher self with that Two of Cups. The Between Worlds card basically says you could be living between worlds. You could be in the spiritual and the logical real world, and mixing those two things together could be very powerful for you. The Between Worlds card I really love because that flamingo is going from like black and white to color. It's like stepping into a more vibrant world. And it's a card that represents improvement. So there definitely could be some financial improvements coming in for you with that card. You have the Four of Pentacles, the Two of Cups, and the Death card. Four of Pentacles is, I don't feel bad about it. I normally don't like the Four of Pentacles for money reasons because he's holding on too tightly to what he has. But I actually feel pretty good for you. It is a card of having a solid financial foundation, like it can be. And so I do feel that energy here where it's like, actually, it's not so bad for you, Virgo. I feel it is talking about the fact that you could be building a more solid financial foundation. This could be something you're doing between now and this time next year. And then right next to it, you have the Nine of Pentacles, which is good. You could be definitely increasing your abundance, and you're doing it by building a solid financial foundation. So like I said, I don't normally I would say don't hold on too tightly to things. Now, if you are, again, you're going to have to be honest with yourself. This can represent pinching off the flow. So it's like if we want money, but we don't have money, what do most people do? They get nervous and they hold on to their money, right? So we just have to get the flow going. And I always tell people to get the flow going, you don't even have to spend money if you don't have it, right? And so it's like you might be stuck and you might be pinched off from your finances, but you can like create something. When we create something and put it into the world and it's something that other people enjoy, then we are getting the flow going. We can also start working on something, even if we don't have the money to do it, right? We can do what we can with what we got. Then we get that flow going and we get that exchange of energy going, and then we get out of that kind of pinched off place. You have the Two of Cups. Yeah, it's clear to me that you have to tap in spiritually in this reading. Two of Cups could be love, and there's definitely love here, but Two of Cups is you and your higher self. This is the Staff of Hermes, and the Staff of Hermes is Mercury, which represents communication. So it's, again, I think your higher self is leading you probably in a new direction, because we go up to the Nine of Pentacles, and nines to me can represent newness in the tarot. They can represent like new, and the Nine of Pentacles in particular can represent a new focus financially. And I think we've been talking about this for like a year with you, Virgo, that it seems to me like Virgo is making some sort of like upgrade. If you have a business, or, if you have something you do for your finances, it's like you're up. I don't think you're like completely changing it. It feels more like an upgrade or a side grade. It's like you're just kind of nudging it in a slightly different direction, like a new focus, or you're becoming more focused on something, and it would almost be like if I were to take this channel and only read for Pisces, right? It's like that would be becoming more focused. I'm not going to do that, so don't worry, but I'm just giving you an example here. Like I kind of feel that with that Nine of Pentacles, and it looks good. Usually, things that are more focused make money. It's like make more money. Like a surgeon makes a lot of money, but a brain surgeon makes more money than even a surgeon, right? So it's like being more specific, being a more focused in what you do can make more money, right? You have the Death card, definitely a change coming in your finances. I feel this is good. I feel like there's like positive changes coming in your finances. The other thing about the Death card is that he has this white rose on his banner here. And that white rose can kind of represent the light at the end of the tunnel. So a lot of you could be seeing things that will produce a benefit or produce bigger benefits for you financially. So I feel pretty good about that Death card. With the Four of Pentacles, yes, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Love it. Like I said, I felt good about that Four of Pentacles, sorry. And the Eight of Pentacles is like straightforward, diligent work. Exactly what we said in the first row as well. That, that focused kind of just doing what works type of energy is going to be the best thing for you, not trying to reinvent the wheel at this time. Like I said, it's not completely true. Like 20% of the time I would be experimenting, trying something new. But like 80% of the time I would do what works. Because again, I want to stress that we are in a time of innovation. So, and those two things can be true at once. People love to tell me how I contradict myself. I'm like, no, I'm very freaking clear on what I say. 20% of the time experiment, 80% of the time do what works. Those two things can be true at once, believe it or not. Right? So again, that's what I would do there. But for the most part, do what works. With the Two of Cups, you have the Ace of Wands. Very good. This is kind of like reigniting your fire. I think that it's almost like flicking a lighter, is what's going on here in your life. I think this is what has been going on in your life. It's like there are these moments in your work or your career or whatever you do where you get really excited. It's like the lighter is getting flicked, and the flame is igniting, but then it goes out because you don't keep doing whatever that is. And so that's what I mean by becoming more focused. It's like I think there's maybe some new ideas or new directions that are really exciting you in career or finances. Even if you're retired, you could be excited by like an investment or something. I don't know. But, I would be doing your research on that. I always say the Ace of Wands is just a spark. We have to keep putting wood on that fire. So whatever is exciting you, I would, think about it, explore it, and learn about it. That's how you can put more wood on the fire. With the Death card, you have the Four of Swords. Yeah, it's like financial recovery. And so I think that with the Four of Pentacles, that you could be doing things to kind of improve your finances, heal your finances, all that other good stuff. Next, we're going to look at what you need to hear right now, and we're also going to look at some challenges in this row. You have this It Is What It Is card and this Waking the Lion card. Definitely. It's time for Virgo to show off those things that you are afraid to show off. Those things that you think you're not good enough to put on display. That's what that Waking the Lion card is saying, is like you need to be more confident in what you create in the world, and you need to put that on display. So that is kind of like a little bit of a challenge for you that I think you need to face with that Lion card. I think the It Is What It Is card could be the Five of Cups in your reading. Sometimes I think with the Five of Cups, we say to ourselves, like, I need things to look this way for me to be successful, but it's just not going to happen. So we have to say it is what it is. I need to be successful anyway. And so the Waking the Lion card is like saying you need to be successful regardless of the environment. And your very first card, the Nine of Pentacles, is the card of your environment. There is this snail right here. The snail wears its home on its back. So the Nine of Pentacles with the snail can represent us creating the environment that we need for success, even if we don't have it. So it says you need to get as close as you possibly can to creating a successful environment for yourself. That means the energy around you. That means your habits, the things you do. It's kind of like a card of setting yourself up for success. The example I always use is like I have a very complicated setup for recording, and I used to have to turn everything on, but now I have it set up so I just have to hit one button and everything turns on. And, it might sound like a small thing, but it's a lot of friction having to turn on 900 pieces of equipment just to get started, right? So by having a button that turns everything on, it removes that friction from me doing this, right? And the Nine of Pentacles says, can you set yourself up by, kind of creating an environment of success? It's also an amazing card for kind of like finances, so another great card for abundance. You have the Temperance card. I kind of feel like this is a little bit of a challenge, but not really. It's like not a bad challenge. I feel this is saying you don't have to be perfect, which I know is hard for Virgo, right? And you are like the sign of perfectionism. And so I feel like the Temperance card is saying be messy. Like don't, if you are working on something, it would be better for you to make progress even if it's not perfect, right? We were talking about stacking wins with the Six of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles. And I think you need to look at things that are finished but aren't perfect as opportunities for you to learn. It's like I once had someone say something to me. I teach YouTube on the weekends, and I had someone say to me, like, I can't put out these videos because they're not perfect. And what if people in the future see them? They're going to judge me because they're not perfect. I'm like, well, number one, that's not how YouTube works. Number two, it's like they understand that you are learning and that you are new. They don't expect you to be perfect. And that is the Temperance card. It's saying you will never learn if you don't publish those videos and you don't figure out what you need to change. You will never figure it out. So I really get that feeling from the Temperance card that it's saying, it would progress, not perfection, right? You have the Four of Cups. I feel a lot of people are being triggered by this right now for whatever reason. I don't even know what it is in the astrology other than we had Pluto go from Capricorn to Aquarius, which I think could explain this energy a little bit. The Four of Cups is like, what I feel it is like for the collective, and definitely you because it's showing up, is that there's something that we all want, that we are fearing that we won't ever have, whatever it is. It's almost like the universe is triggering everyone. And it's almost like the universe is saying like, hey, there's this like experience, or there's this relationship, or there's this idea, or this business, or this dream that you have, and you're afraid that you can't have it. But the universe is also trying to say, like, no, you've learned what to do. You've had these maybe 3 failures before, but you need to apply what you learned to a new situation to create the reality. It's almost like the universe has a challenge for everybody, which is to create your dream life. Neptune and Pisces. Neptune will be retrograding into Pisces in 2025, and then in next year, it'll be, by this time next year, January 26th of next year, it will move back into Aries, and that's where we really have to try to create the dream. And so I feel this is about you. Like, I think that it's not a challenge. I think the universe is challenging you to create something that you really want, right? With the Nine of Pentacles, that's crazy. You have the Five of Cups. Didn't I say something about the Five of Cups with the Nine of Pentacles? I'm pretty sure I did. And so the Five of Cups is about releasing regret. And it's also about turning around and seeing these 2 cups so you can get this bridge and this castle over here. I think this is about trying not to be perfect as well. He is grieving the loss of something he once enjoyed, but he doesn't enjoy it anymore, and he needs to kind of create something new here, or focus on something new with these 2 cups behind him. With the Temperance card, you have the Hierophant. The Hierophant can actually represent blessings, and funny enough, he is also the teacher, so learning, right? He has these 3 stages to his crown, which represents initiation, apprenticeship, and mastery. So it's like before you can become the master, you have to put things into practice to learn. And that's what we said on the Temperance card. With the 4 cups, you have the Ace of Swords. A lot of aces in these readings, I've noticed already. So like I said, I've done about 5 of these readings so far. And I've noticed a lot of aces. So this time next year could be a great time for new beginnings or starting something new. This is about your inner truth, and the Ace of Swords is about focus, like we said on the Nine of Pentacles. I always say the Ace of Swords is laser-like focus. It is picking one thing, being laser-like focused on it, and making it happen. So whatever your dream is, it's possible, Virgo, but you have to really focus on it, right? Next, we are going to look at love and relationships. This is all relationships, so if you don't want love, this is just people in your life. You have this higher power card, the whole entire reading. Those first 2 cards talk about you tapping into a higher power. You have this moon circles that says support, which is great in this part of the reading. It says that you could be getting a lot of support from the people who matter to you, and you could also be improving your relationship with the higher power as well this year, which kind of makes sense. You have the 5 of Pentacles, 5 of Swords, and the 9 of Cups. This is like independence. Like Virgos, I find, are very independent, at least the ones that I've known. But I kind of feel, you can be independent and also feel lonely at the same time. I think, those 2 things can be true at once as well. 5 of Pentacles says, do not call attention to your weaknesses. You need to focus on your strengths. As far as love is concerned, again, I feel like this is 2 people that need to start from scratch. Like, I don't even know what that means, Virgo. Kind of what I think that means, but I don't really know, is that, it's like maybe, we all have a past. And it's like, I see this as 2 people that need to look at each other, you and them, need to look at each other as new, like starting from scratch, starting over, leaving the past in the past. You need to look at each other as babies, right? And I think that if you do that, things will go very, very well. But if both people are attaching baggage, then there's going to be, it's not going to work out as well. So, definitely something that I would think about. You have the 5 of Swords. I do feel there are changes in connections for Virgos. Wouldn't surprise me if some of you are moving over the next couple of years, even though this is for this time next year. You could be thinking about moving this time next year. And so if you are, then obviously you're going to be leaving some people behind. I also think Virgo is at a place in their life where you could be realizing, I don't really resonate with this type of person, whatever that type of person is. I see this 5 of Swords as more a card of maturity for you right now, Virgo, because, it's like, I'm sure you all have one of those friends in life that never grew up, right? And it's like, that's what this is right here. It's like you could be looking at some people in your life and saying, I don't really resonate with that anymore. I don't resonate with those beliefs. And like I always say, we don't have to be a jerk or anything about it. We just spend less time with those people, or we just realize, we just have to make new friends, right? And that's kind of what I feel with the 5 of Swords. You have the 9 of Cups. I literally feel the 9 of Cups is saying make a wish. So if you want love or if you're hoping for a connection, I think it would be an amazing time for you to make a wish in love or in connection so that you can have something that is better or something that is much stronger. So make a wish. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Page of Pentacles. Yes, definitely a new person, for sure. So for those of you that want love, this could be a new person. If you're in a relationship as well, maybe that's what you're doing. If you're already in one at this moment, is like maybe you're kind of saying, why don't we start from scratch? It's like you're falling back in love with a person. And, maybe that's what you need to do. Like if you're in a good relationship that maybe just has some problems, I think the Five of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles could say, refresh the connection. Maybe you need to learn each other again or getting back in touch with each other in a way. And I kind of get that energy. Page of Pentacles is about studiousness. It's about learning. And it's about not taking things personally, right? It's like sometimes in relationships, our partner has a complaint, but I always like to remind myself it's not about me. It's them. And maybe that's what you need to do is like realize that if you have a partner that's complaining or something, that's like they're not complaining about you. They have something going on, and instead of getting upset about things that they say or whatever, and this goes both ways. Maybe you need to have this conversation, right? And you need to say to yourself, this really isn't about me. There's something deeper going on with this person. I just need to explore it and learn it, right? And listen. And if you do that, I really feel you could be improving a connection if you're already in one. With the Five of Swords, you have the Seven of Wands. Yeah, like I said, Seven of Wands is my card of drawing a line in the sand. It's my card of saying, this is what I'm willing to accept, and nothing below this point can enter into my life. So you really could just be putting up boundaries in connections by this time next year. And that would probably be a good thing for sure. With the Nine of Cups, yes, you have the Lovers. So there you go. In the area of love. Definitely could be a very solid connection coming in, or like a perfect match for those of you that want a connection. There could be new love. We even have the Hierophant, which can represent kind of like a more spiritual connection, can represent marriage as well. So if you're looking for a deeper connection, I would wish for it. I would ask for it. Nine of Cups is also about being in the energy of what you want, right? So we have to be the thing we want before we can have it. And so matching energy would be a good idea as well. You have this key card. It says successful outcome to your problems. Love it. Definitely could be overcoming some problems by this time next year. And it's kind of like you're opening doors as well. I really do feel that energy for you more as well, Virgo. I think there are new doors opening where you're becoming more specific, like we said with the Nine of Pentacles. So like those opportunities could be, could exist more as we get closer to next year. You have this teapot. It says deep friendship of the same sex. Yeah, those quality connections are going to be important based off your relationship row here. Surrounding yourself with people who really matter to you is going to be just really good. You have this bird flying. It says news is on the way. If you have been waiting for news or communication or anything like that, we also have the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords and the Page of Pentacles are both good cards for receiving messages. Now, I think you need to pay attention spiritually. Like, I think your messages are going to come from source, from your dreams, your daydreams, your intuition, your gut instincts, how you feel about things. And those are the messages I would be paying attention to with this card. You have this back card that says, take care, enemies are working against you. I don't know, you and Pisces, it's like you and Pisces are always very similar. You're the most similar opposites that I read for in the tarot. And, what I would say here is it's about just not listening. It's like, I think that you could be soaring to new heights, becoming more specific, becoming more successful. It's like, as you become more successful, this is pretty much what happens is like, the haters come out of the woodwork. I think the best thing you can do is just ignore it. You have this pail. It says time to get out of a situation. I think it's time to step into who you are is what this card is saying. It's like, it's not really so much a situation. I think what's been going on for Virgo for years is your identity. And, it's like your real identity, who you really are, is coming out. And I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but, that's really what I feel. It's like there are things that maybe you say or people that you associate with, and you're like, I don't really believe this. And I feel like this is saying, that's okay. The other thing I think you need to realize is that, it's like things, I feel for Virgo that there are things that you're thinking that people feel, but no one says. And people who speak up, who say what people are feeling but aren't saying, stand out. And for whatever reason, that is popping into my head with this card. It's like there might be certain things, like in work, in business, in your love life, in whatever, that you're like picking up on, and these are things that need to be said. So I this doesn't say that, but for whatever reason, I feel the whole reading, everything going on here is kind of saying it's time for you to speak up in those moments. But this looks really good here, Virgo. I like where this is going. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.